Imagine pulling up to an EV charger and seeing this. The good news, anti-theft solutions exist, and we are installing one today to test it out. I seriously doubt that anybody's going to be able to cut this. It's absolutely going to be a deterrent. It's an interesting option for trying to protect the cable. So ultimately what we have is a series of steel cables and that are going to go wrapped around the charging cable, and then there's a heat shrink that goes around to hold everything together. I'm a little concerned that the whole cable is going to be very bulky when it gets done, but we'll see how that works. Usually the cable hangs on this small hanger over here, and it just pretty much fits when we've got the cable itself. Adding in the steel cables around it is it's going to make it quite a bit more bulky. But again, it'll be interesting to see, and we can always overcome that later on. Bit of an experiment. There's actually a few chargers here. We've got, this is an apartment complex, and there's these two that we're working on today. There's a couple of others, so I think the customer wants to experiment, see how it's going to work, and then if it makes sense, we'll do other ones. So this is just a series of 4 cables, and the system has stainless steel banding that holds it in place, and there's other tie wraps and what have you. At the end, I believe there's like a piece of heat shrink that has to go around it. So we're just getting started, and they tell you to start from this end and work your way through. So it's handy that we brought the table. We don't end up having to work on the floor. So we'll come back to this as we proceed. So I didn't quite catch it at the beginning, but there's more than just the steel cables in here. There's also this steel, almost like a fish tape. I would say that it would be, once this is put together, it would be very hard to cut through this. It's absolutely going to be a deterrent. Again, how it's going to work out in terms of bulkiness and hanging will be another matter. So to allow for the different lengths of cables, there's an extension piece that comes at the end. So it's just going to actually overlap at the top end of it here, so that everything is covered. And they ask you to put there's actually a video that explains to you how to do this, so you're able to sort of follow along. Again, this is our first time, so we'll see how it all looks. So far, this didn't take too long to get together. Warmer weather would help, but we'll do the best we can. So the intent with this extension piece to some extent is to double cover over this sort of upper area, because the feeling is that this is the area that's most likely to get cut. That makes sense. If you're going to cut it, I guess you'd want to keep as much of the cable as possible. You'd be no point in cutting it at the other end. So the extension, in addition to giving you the flexibility of the length, you get double coverage in the most difficult areas. So they're asking you to put extra tie wraps and what have you, and then to make it even more difficult to cut at this end. So that's what we're up to right now. Okay, we're sort of at the end of the installation. There's this metal piece and the tag that goes at this end, and there's some heat shrink and some plastic that goes at this end. So it has made it pretty bulky. I'm not quite sure what we're going to do about the hanging of it, but this is the best that we've done at the moment. And I can tell you that I seriously doubt that anybody's going to be able to cut this. So from that perspective, it's worked out okay. I think we need to organize something better to be able to hang it so that people will put the cable back. But it's an interesting option for trying to protect the cable, and we'll touch base with the customer and see what they think about it as well. If you're looking for other videos that are similar to this and something that's interesting, we're always on the lookout for you. signatureelectric.ca or at our YouTube channel, youtube.com/signatureelectric. Thanks.